Welcome to another episode of Beyond Cheaters, the Detective Gomez Files. I'm your host, Detective Gomez. And ladies and gentlemen, as we all get a little bit older these days, it's always tough to date. And today we have Miss Anna is going to be on our show today. And she's going to tell us some experiences she's been going through herself and through with some of her friends as she gets older. And some of her friends have gotten a little bit older. We're all not in our 20s anymore. So there's some things that she wants to share with you as an audience on what to look out for as you dating as you get older. So let's bring Miss Anna on the air right now. Anna, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very, very good. Thank you for being on the podcast today. As I did as part of the intro, that as we get older and we're dating, there's things you still have to look out for. Not everybody out there is an angel. Not everybody out there is going to tell you the truth. And there's some things that you brought to my attention that I think are very, very important that maybe you'd like to share with us and some of the experiences that you have gone through. So tell us about it, Anna.
Well, first of all, I was married for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of came from the dating experiences back then. So dating now from when I was, younger is totally different from dating now.
Okay.
So back in the day, you used to meet people organically, right?
Right.
And now whenever you meet somebody, most of the stuff, especially with COVID, is all online.
Right.
And I kind of feel like everybody has like their person, it's not them, it's their the
alter ego.
Yes, absolutely. So it's not really them you're dating.
Right.
And with social media and all the different platforms, cheating, and I think people think that there's better options out there, so that's why people are not ready to commit.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen just through social media, of course, people aren't even asking for your phone number anymore. They go, what's your Instagram or what's your Snap, and I'll get a hold of you there.
Yeah.
Do you see it also?
Yes. Everybody, they don't want your phone number. They want to know what your social media looks like. And let's be real, social media is fake. So that's not really getting to know that person. You're only getting to know what you want the world to see. So I don't think that's a fair way of dating or a fair way of getting to know somebody, because you're literally just meeting the person they want you to see.
Okay. Do you see that, with just with yourself? Do you see it with your friends? I mean, how are you experiencing it? I mean, you're single right now, obviously, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you go to the grocery store and there's some guy hitting on you. You're like, dude, why do you want my Instagram? Is that what they're asking for now?
Well, to tell you the truth, like when I don't really go out that much because I'm kind of a little bit of a homebody, but when I do go out in public, nobody ever really talks to me. So I've never actually gone out and somebody approached me to kind of talk to me. So it's probably not since I was back in the club days, which was like in my 20s, did that happen where somebody would be like, hey, let me buy you a drink. Somebody coming up to me now that doesn't happen. So I have been on like dating apps, I have Facebook, I have Instagram, I have LinkedIn. As you're older, LinkedIn is kind of one of those things that you want to have as for your business. And so I just feel that, it's harder to meet people organically. And as I talk to my nieces and even my own daughter, like it's hard for people to meet. They're having the same issues that I'm having at my age. And it has all to do with social media.
You're exactly right. It's really hard to meet somebody, and you're only seeing what they want you to see on social media, right? So you really can't see who they really are. Because I'm probably a little bit older than you, but I remember going to the bar. Hey, can I buy you a drink? Can I talk to you or whatever? At least you could strike up some type of conversation. Now it's either texting or inbox me or DM me or something like that. There's no way to really get to know somebody and pick up the phone and talk to somebody.
That's something that as I'm older that I do ask for. I do say, I want to talk to you on the phone, because I do not want to meet somebody and kind of like a first date type thing and not get a sense, because I feel like when you talk to somebody on the phone, you kind of get a sense of who they are, and if there's any kind of like chemistry, your vibe is good. So something that I do request is that we talk on the phone, and I feel like men these days, it's just behind a text. You know, texting is so hard to getting to know somebody in the first place, you know?
Yeah, pick up the damn phone, you know, or call me, you know, or you know, and do you see that men now also are very, very do they ever ask you to pay for the dinner or pay for the lunch or anything like that? Or do you run across anything like that where they expect you to do more?
I personally don't, because I feel like I set my expectations kind of high. Like whenever, you know, they're like, okay, can I take you to, like, you know, let's just say to drink coffee or something. And I'm not a coffee person, but I'm like, okay, you know what, if you make it past whatever I need you to make it past, I tell them the restaurants that I want to go to.
Okay.
And I'll say, like, these are my restaurants, and if you want to go to these restaurants, then you can pick.
Okay. Give me Chick-fil-A, something like that, or is it a little bit more?
No,
No.
it's fine dining.
Okay.
But
Well, no, that's good. But at least they know what to expect, right? You're talking to them. I mean, you're telling them, look, this is kind of like where I like to eat. This is kind of like, if we're going to go out, this is where I like to, I'm giving you some options, you know, not just take me to here or the Waffle House for dinner or anything like that, right? You want to go someplace nice, but you have certain expectations, and at least you're laying it out on the line. That's fair. I think that's fair, because if you don't tell them, then he may take you someplace that you don't like, maybe don't like the food, or maybe don't like the atmosphere, and you're like, and you're gonna have a look on your face like, I don't want to be here. You might just walk out. Who knows? You know?
yeah. Yeah. No, and I feel like, especially on a first date, like you do want to put, you know, I'm not always saying that I want fine dining, because like I will go for somebody who has a good heart than like a big wallet. So
Right.
I'm not going for, I literally care more about somebody's heart. So, but I am saying, at like in the beginning, you have to make an effort. You have to kind of like, you know, because yeah, like you just have to kind of show up and be like, okay, this is who I am, and you know,
Make some kind of impression if you really like the girl.
yeah,
You know, you got to do something. You can't just, you know, you're right. You got to make some effort, because if not, first impressions are everything. And if you don't make a good first impression, it's like, okay, on to the next guy. Right.
yeah.
Is there anything that, you know, like, give me your top 3 things that'll just turn you off completely about a first date?
Okay, I hate to admit this, but like I have gone on a lot of dates. Um Things that I don't like about people, and I feel like sometimes maybe I'm a little bit picky on what but my thing is, it's never looks wise, right? It's always personality type stuff. Um I feel like people, it's what, like, you know, men, like actually guys who actually like gentlemen, I feel like it's very hard, they don't really exist anymore. Somebody who
Right.
and it's and women, and this is something women want, okay? It's literally the little things. I don't think men realize this. Women will go and fight harder for a man who does little things like, you know, open doors, get them flowers when they don't expect it. It's literally write them cards about how much they miss them. I mean, it's literally the little things. Yes, we like big things, but it's the little things that actually stick in our hearts that we will. That's what makes us fall for somebody.
Yeah,
Is
so
the
what
little
you
things.
cherish, you
Yes.
cherish those things. You remember those things, like, hey, he used to do this for me, he did that for me. Yeah, I mean, anybody can buy you a big Christmas gift and birthday gift, but it's the little things that keeps the relationship going on a daily basis.
Yeah.
That, you know, it could be like, I could be texting you, hey, I'm thinking about you right now, and I'm over here working, but I'm thinking about you right now. You're like, oh, he's thinking about me. Whatever it might be, just to make your day know that you're a part of his daily routine.
Yeah, it literally little things, like even if it's a text, like thinking about you, I saw something that reminded me of you today, just little things like that. Women appreciate so much more than the bigger things. Like it really is, it really and truly is true.
Good.
Yeah.
No, I think it's very important. Well, what are some other things that kind of turn you off about a first date?
Okay, so so let me just tell you of one of my worst dates that I ever had.
Okay.
So and this is something that totally turned me off about the whole experience. So I went on a date with this guy who he had like a lot of money, but like I didn't really know that he had a lot of money. And when we went to the restaurant, he had like a wad of money, which was like hundreds or whatever. And so he was literally tipping everybody $100. Like I'm talking
Okay.
like the hostess, the people who sat us down. Everybody was getting tipped like $100 bill, right?
Okay.
And he was a cool, like I didn't even care about that. And he was in a relationship for a very long time, and he had just recently got single, and he got really drunk on the date.
Ooh.
And I mean, because he was ordering double whiskeys. I mean, it was literally, and he ordered me everything on the menu. He was really nice until he got really drunk.
Wow.
So he turned into somebody weird, and I had to get an Uber ride, and it was just like the whole date, which could have been a good date, turned out really bad. So
drinking too much on a first date can really destroy first.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then also something that I've had an experience with is if you're giving too much, you expect too much from the first date. I've had a guy who has been on a date with me and said after that first date that he knew I was the one. Okay. And like, I was like, okay, like it creeped me out because you don't even know me, but he said, no, I just know you're the person for me. And I thought that was really weird too. So women are not the only ones that can be a little bit, clinging, like, oh, you're my person. I mean,
no, because you being a little bit older, realize, look, man, okay, you got to get to know me before you know I'm the one. First of all, let's get that straight. Okay, but you being older, realize that. Now, when we're younger, it's a little bit different. But as you're older, you're like, no, man, it doesn't work like that. You got to get to know somebody. You got to. I mean, you're married, so you know that it's one thing to date somebody, and then it's one thing to live with somebody, and it's one thing to marry somebody.
Yeah.
It's it's a big difference. When you move in with somebody, it's a complete different story than dating somebody.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah. No, I mean, and he actually got mad at me because he said, he had wrote books and he had done all this stuff, and he was like, I know, I can feel it. Like, I know God brought you to me and you're like my person. And he was like, after the first date, he was like, you are literally my person and we need to move in together. Whoa. What?
That would scare the hell out of me. Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Well, okay. All right, and let me ask you a couple of cheating questions here since we got here. I'm going to ask you 4 questions about infidelity and cheating. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. First question is, why do you think people cheat so much now in 2025? Well, why do people cheat in relationships?
Well, something that I've always said is that when you're with somebody, you have to evolve to the person. If you love them, right? Let's just say you've been with them for a very long time. You can't stay that person because people grow. And so you have to kind of grow into whoever, like, to fit that person, right? So I feel like in relationships that people cheat because somebody's getting lazy and not putting as much effort into the relationship. And so I feel like you should always, act like y'all are, this is like your first date. I just feel that people get complacent and they don't really put the effort that they used to put in. And I feel, and even as a woman, right, we have to look good for our men and we have to be that person, because not all the time, but you have to show up, because you know what, you just have to like be that better.
I like how you say it. You have to show up. You have to show up as the wife, the woman. You've got to show up, because if you don't show up, then
somebody else will. Yeah.
Somebody else will. Okay. Yeah. All right. How about this one here? Say you see your friend's husband out with another woman at a restaurant. And they're kind of cozying up together. He's married to your best friend. What are you gonna do? You gonna tell her, or let her find out on her own?
I'm definitely gonna tell her, because I don't. I feel like something about I feel about cheating is it's never okay.
Mhm.
If you don't want to be with somebody, you should communication is like the best thing, and you should tell them like, hey, I'm not feeling it. Something's up, and like we need to fix this. So I feel like instead of looking it for somewhere else, which a lot of people do these days, and they're not trying to fix things at home. So I would definitely tell that my friend,
Uh-huh.
like, hey, I saw your man with somebody else, but also I would kind of confront him
Mhm.
also to kind of tell him like, hey, I know what you're doing, because and maybe he might, because it's hard to leave a situation, especially whenever you're like so invested into it. So I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, my friend might be like, oh well, I'm still gonna stay with him, because most, let's be real, like most people, whenever they find out somebody's cheating, they stay.
Yeah. They stay. Someone's got to pay the bills. Someone's got to pay the car. Someone's got to pay the house note. It's got to be done.
Yeah, so I would tell both of I would tell him, I'd be like, hey, so he knows I know what's up. And I would also tell my friend and be like, this is what I saw. And it sucks because being cheated on really does hurt.
It does. Okay. How about this one? So, do you believe in second chances? Do you believe that if somebody cheats on somebody, is there any chance that it can be worked out after the infidelity has occurred?
Um, yes and no. Like I do feel like people can change,
Mm-hmm.
um, but they have to want to change.
Mm-hmm.
I think that some major therapy needs to be in play, and to find out why the cheating started out in the first place.
Okay.
So I feel like you have to get to the root of the problem of why it even happened, because women and men are they. It doesn't just happen. I feel like overnight.
Right.
It's a process, and there's signs, and
Mm-hmm.
so um, you have to kind of look out for those signs. And if something feels weird and something doesn't feel right, the women's intuition is always kind of right, or the man, even with the man, right? Like if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
Okay. All right. So it would just depend on what. But you said therapy could correct that second, but it takes two to go to therapy too, right?
You have to want to, right? You have
Okay.
to want to fix the relationship. I mean, whenever people say like once a cheater always a cheater, I don't necessarily believe that. I do
Mm-hmm.
think that if you love somebody enough, you could change. It just depends on if you love them enough to want to change.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the last one for you. Who cheats more? Oh no, I'm sorry. Okay, last one. No, I got one more after this one. Who cheats more, men or women?
I'm gonna go with men.
Yeah, why?
I feel like because men, I feel
Just
like
spit it out.
I feel like but see, like, okay, so like I don't know, like that's I don't know, maybe it's half and half, because like, no, no, no. I'm gonna go with men.
Okay,
And I'm
men.
gonna go with men because I feel like sometimes, like I said, like women get kind of lazy in the way that they, you know, something I've always said is that if you're with somebody, you have to be like you have to always be on it.
Mm.
Like, and I'm talking about be on it with because especially if he's providing for you and he's doing in this day and age, right? It's usually 50-50.
Right.
But if he's like fixing stuff for you, and you
Fix
know
your-
and women, it's an amazing thing to be a woman, to
Right.
be able to get dressed up, to be able to be everything that they saw whenever you first met them.
Right.
So I feel like men sometimes are looking for something that they're not getting at home. So
Yeah.
be that person in bed, be that person, in the kitchen, be that person. And, I don't know if it's because I'm like old school or whatever, but I am the type of woman that I will serve my man and I will continue to do it until I die. Like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's, a lot of women these days are like, oh, like equal rights, equal this, and that's not. I feel like, yes, to a certain point, but there's nothing wrong with showing my man, hey, I got you, just the way that you expect him to do the same for you.
I think that's very well way to think, Anna, because like us guys, we're visual creatures, right? Right, we are. I like your hair this way. I want maybe. Hey, Anna, could you wear your hair this way for your mom? Sure, whatever you want, whatever it takes to make you happy or please you. What could you make this for dinner for me? Sure, no problem. You want this? I'll make it for you. I may not want to eat it, but I'll make it for you if you want. That's what you want, Danny. So,
Yeah.
But you're right. Going back to what you said, I think like what you said, the way he met you, what turned him on to gravitate towards you and make that relationship happen in the beginning is what you got to keep doing, till the end, because that's what makes us guys happy. Whatever it may be, little things. Can you put that bow in your hair, whatever it may be, just do it, just to make us happy.
Yes.
The last thing we want to be told, and I will tell you, because I dated somebody once a long time ago that I'm not doing that for you, Danny. And I'm like, okay, all right. Okay. Why'd I even ask? So then it's like a dog getting kicked, like, okay, you're going to kick a dog so many times and he's not going to come back one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also feel like men want to feel like men again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like now today, like there's a lot of women that are like, oh, like, no, women need to feel like women and men need to feel like men. And that's just how it should be.
Okay. Another one here for you. There's a lot of women that put up different memes and things like that on Facebook, and they're constantly putting up, I'm waiting for the man that's worth my worth and my worth in this, and I'm worth that and all that. And I'm going to wait till I find that person that I'm not going to give away my worth because he's not worth, all that kind of stuff. You've seen those stuff, right? What do you think about women that are constantly talking about, they're going to wait till that perfect person walks in the front door? Do you have to kind of bend a little bit sometimes in a relationship to make it work? I mean, not everybody's going to be perfect.
Well, I don't think that anybody out there is perfect. And I think that as you get older, you kind of see, the dating pool gets different, and you have to everybody's kind of like set in their ways and stuff like that. So I feel you have to adjust your thinking and realize it's like a give and take, and because there is nobody perfect. We ourselves are not perfect. So to expect that from somebody else. And I think women that do put stuff like, I'm waiting for this perfect person, they know in their hearts that doesn't exist. But it's all about like manifestations and stuff like that. So maybe they're thinking like, okay, if I put it out there, like he's coming, but that's not how it works. I feel like you kind of have to be more open to people's flaws, and see what you're willing to put up with and what you're not.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a friend of mine, I manifest that she's going to date somebody else, but it's going to come back to me in the end. I go, yeah, you keep telling yourself that. I don't know what to tell you, man, but okay. Okay, one more for you. You think there's still true love out there, Anna? A lot of women now have gone to the point where, screw it, I don't want a boyfriend anymore. I just want someone to help me pay my bills. That's all I want. I'll find me a sugar daddy. Because I've had cases before where guys have met these women on different websites and they're afraid they're trying to take their money, they're taking their business. So you think some women now just say, screw the love, just pay my bills and I'm happy to I want to travel. I got my passport. I'm ready to go. Do you think that's kind of where it's going now as far as women?
I guess because like the women that I know, we actually are looking for true love. Like we really do want to find our best friend, somebody who we could just, who knows everything about us, who we could talk to about any and everything, about how bad our day was. And my friends are beautiful. Like the people that I know are beautiful women inside and out. And they're not and they could get, men who have lots of money, but it's at the end of the day, like that's doesn't matter. Like money goes, comes, and you're stuck with that person on the inside. So I do feel like true love does exist. I feel that we just need to dig a little bit harder and not keep searching for something, because I feel like with us, with social media, as soon as you find something wrong with them, you're like, okay, next, let me go find somebody else who doesn't have, a big toe. You know what I mean? So I feel like we're so quick to jump to the next best thing that we're not focusing on the person in front of us that's probably a good person and that probably be our match, but we're just not getting to know them.
Yeah, you can't just fall in love with a photograph. You got to get to know the person behind the photograph.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Anna, let me any advice for the women out there or men? You want as give us some advice real quick before we cut you loose on dating and as you get older. Any kind of advice you want to give our audience before you go?
I think my only advice is just get to know the person on a deeper level of than just a text message like, hey, how's your day? What's up? Get to actually know them. Have some real conversations with that person. Once you get to actually know, like, take it deeper than just, that first initial meeting. Just because the first initial meeting isn't what you expect, give them some time, because that person could be your person, but you might be looking for something else that is already in that person. Okay. So I feel like we shouldn't just blow people off in the beginning just because they give you the ick, because there could be something in that person that you might like.
Very well said. All right, Miss Anna, we want to thank you for being part of Beyond Cheaters, the Detective Gomez Files today, and had a great conversation, and we'll be sure to share this with our listeners. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Miss Anna for being part of our show today. We also want to thank our sponsor, Mr. Juan Hernandez with the Juan Hernandez Law Firm. You can be involved in a car accident, contact him, 214-900-0000, or visit him at juanlaw.com. Or if you're going through a divorce, contact Miss Victoria 𝗟𝗏𝘁. She's a specialist in divorces, child custody. She can help you. Contact her at 214-391-5555. And of course, you can, if you're going through a cheating situation, contact this guy, Detective Gomez. That's me. We're more than glad to help you. So don't be afraid to find out the truth, because I will help you. I will get you there. All right. Take care. And I'll see you next time on Beyond Cheers, the Detective Gomez Files.
This is Detective Gomez, everybody. He'll uncover everything that you're hiding. This is Detective Gomez, everybody. Watch out, he'll know if you're lying. This is Detective